that I am here to heal myself, and you are here to heal yourself.
Myself.
That is the only goal. And so if I'm subtly replacing that with helping someone else and creating a business and blah 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 blah, then I just really got clear on how that was in front of my own healing.
That makes
And
sense.
yeah, and so I the prompts were there for a long time to let that studio go. And then at the same time, Spirit was saying, wait, 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 and so then it all came together at um, that meditation retreat. And then, okay, here's what's got to happen. It just felt so right. And so, uh, as I let that go, what's really happening is now I'm stepping into my healing more and more and more. And there's just more peace and more ease and this deep desire to have more simplicity in my life. Yeah. So, and from there now, I'll see how the the business goes and see how the offering
Yeah,
that I
right.
have, the Avita yoga, is to see how that goes,
Yeah.
one little step at a time. And so I've removed this huge layer, but it's
Huge.
so clear really now why the mystics have been drawn to these kind of isolated situations where they go to the cave or they go to the
Right.
mountaintop or they go to the desert or
Yeah.
you more and more, like the course tells us, we withdraw the projection, and as we withdraw the projection, we go deeper into peaceful self. And then you start to realize that's all there is. That's all you want. And truly, as we heal for ourselves, we heal the world. Yeah. Yeah. It's so powerful and it's so true. So, yeah, only once or twice has the ego popped in and said, Jeff, what are you doing? These people need you. They want you. How can you possibly do this? And some people have actually said that to me. What are you doing? You
I've
know,
had the thoughts. I mean, they come in. It's not the
yeah,
only thoughts I have,
yeah,
but of course that costs. It was like, oh, I'm not ready for the
yeah,
studio not to be there.
yeah. No, I know
And
a
and
lot
then
of
I'm like,
people.
oh, but I am. But oh no, I'm not. So it's this wave of, well, it's loss and a transition for everyone.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and a true teacher makes themselves unnecessary.
I so agree with that.
And that's the
Truly.
test.
It was
So,
going to bring tears. It's true.
yeah. So, and while I've been aiming to do that over the years, um, there's still developed this little dependency.
Yeah.
Me thinking that people needed me, and them thinking they needed me.
Right.
You know,
Yes.
and so it's really a cleansing. It really is a cleansing, and it's a test to see if um, for us all to withdraw a little bit more and settle into our ultimate responsibility, which is what this lesson today, 90,
Wonderful. I'm not
it's all
surprised.
about. Yeah, it's our only function. Yeah,
Just real quick, because something that you said, and thank you for sharing that with me.
yeah,
I was thinking about you when you were on retreat. I'm like, I'm having my own thoughts and feelings. And I thought about you. And I'm like, Jeff is having his own too. Because even though it feels right, it's still a letting go, um, a letting go and an offering of something new. whatever that looks like. And the dependency, I mean, it's there
Hmm.
in a lot of people. Anyway, I've worked a lot with dependency. So I'm like, oh, if I feel like I need you, it's just for me a red flag. I'm like, oh, I'm truly have everything I need. And it's nice to have teachers, but to be dependent is kind of different. But my teacher, my other teacher, my meditation teacher yesterday, her name is Terry, you would love her. But she was like, and part of the guided meditation, she's like, I'm the most important person in my life. And this is the most important time, this moment right now.
Hmm.
And I just love that. Because I haven't had that thought like, I'm the most important person in my life. Because it's so easy to project it to somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, how you mean so much to me. But it's like, oh, there's me.
Yeah.
And then the offering comes from there.
Yeah.
Like the healing. Yeah, it just was very sweet. It kind of reminded me of what you were saying.
Hmm. Yeah. There's in the teacher training, I've always talked about the guru follower relationship where
Yeah,
it's sticky
yeah,
if the guru is being fed by the follower and the follower is being fed. There's this, it can be a lot of good information
yeah.
shared, but if there's this stickiness and sometimes it gets to be this real emptiness that you feel the
Mm-hmm.
moment you're separated from this person. There's
Oh,
this
right.
lots of specialness going on, and
Yeah.
that is, it can be super clear like that, and we know when there's this
Mm.
pain there, then that's deep work. But sometimes it's been subtle. Like for me over the years, it's been subtle, um, because we want a healthy teacher student relationship
Mm-hmm.
where truly the teacher is the student,
Mm.
and there's so
Yes.
much humility in that.
Mm.
But, I mean, just using Jesus as an example, I think he became so present, so healed in his mind. He joined perfectly with God, and yet seemed to still walk the earth. And so it's how he was able to, um, not feel pain
Mm.
and just completely withdraw. So there seem to be these levels of real unlearning that we
Oh.
start to go through, and that's what this is. This is
Mm.
probably one of the best guides we have to that real peace and that real happiness. Yeah,
And us doing this is, well,
it's a gift.
it's a gift for everyone who,
Yeah,
and, uh, and then for us doing it. Like, I
yeah,
know I'm changing.
yeah.
So it's lovely. Uh,
So here we are with lesson number 99. Salvation is my only function. Here it says salvation and forgiveness are the same. They both imply that something has gone wrong, something to be saved from, forgiven for, something amiss that needs corrective change, something apart or different from the will of God. Thus do both terms imply a thing impossible, but yet which has occurred, resulting in a state of conflict seen between what is and what could never be. So what this is saying is that the impossible has occurred, that it's impossible to be separate from our shared creator. That heaven, which is the kingdom in which God extends perfect love to the Christ mind, which is what we are, in truth, we are the Christ mind, joined in perfect unity with God's giving. That is the only thing real. That's the only thing exists. And it's that which we want to remember. That's our yoga practice. But it seems that something has gone amiss. Salvation and forgiveness are words not known in heaven because there's nothing wrong. Nothing ever really went wrong. Nothing can go wrong in truth in heaven. But here we are, seemingly separate individuals, wanting nothing more than to return to our true state of mind. So we'll start with just having you sitting on your bolster. Bring it away from the wall, at least a foot or two. That's it. And then just have the soles of your feet together. And we'll just have a moment here. Slowly curve forward. Just nice and easy. Don't push, don't pull. Who cares how far forward you go? Just feel your way into the shape. I'll read a little bit more here too. In paragraph 2, it says, truth and illusions both are equal now, for both have happened. So while the illusion really hasn't happened, it's spirit just saying, all right, let's roll with it. Truth and illusions both are equal now. Let's just play with this idea that both have happened. It says the impossible becomes the thing you need forgiveness for, salvation from. We need to be saved from the impossible. Salvation now becomes the borderland between the truth and the illusion. It reflects the truth because it is the means by which you can escape illusions. That's beautiful. That's a key line. Salvation reflects the truth because it is the means by which you can escape illusions. Yet it is not yet the truth because it undoes what was never done. Yeah, lots of kind of a play on words in there. The ego would have a hard time understanding this, but luckily we don't have to understand it. We just play along. Okay, now raise on up and extend your legs straight out in front of you. We're going to shift the bolster to the right. Okay, and then we're going to bend. So we get our directions mixed up a little bit here. So you shifted it to the left. So if you're sitting, you shift the bolster to the left, excuse me, and you sit on the right end of the bolster. You're going to bend the right knee and have the right foot pointing straight back. Now, your shape may not look like Lisa's. We know Lisa loves this shape. And so you could show them how you could lean a little bit, Lisa. You could be leaning to the side. Your foot could be out a little bit further away. Yeah, it could look like that. All right. And so we just want to bring the first bit of resistance, the first sensation. Is it in the toe, the ankle, the knee, the hip? Work with what shows up. Activate the left leg, bring the left toes towards you, heel center. But mild activation, just enough to have that leg included in the shape. Close your eyes. And we'll just let the shape work for you. Soften your spine. Feel into the shape itself. All this sensation that I seem to be having, all these desires that I seem to want to fulfill in the world, is but an illusion. It has nothing to do with my reality. And let's face it, the illusion that includes the body and all of its desires, well, it's the ego mind's desires projected onto the body. They're attractive. until we have a glimmer, until we have an experience of lasting peace, of the real beauty in heaven, we keep believing that it's the illusion that we want. It's the illusion that satisfies. Most of us have had some worldly experiences that don't go so well. The trauma, the emotions, the grief, the seeming loss. And so a lot of what the Course is asking us to do is to look honestly at the picture of the world and realize it's not what we want. Salvation is the release. It's the escape hatch to the real world. All right, now lean to the left. Gently release your leg. And we'll shift the bolster to the right. Sit on the left end of the bolster. Legs straight out in front of you. Lean to the right. Bend the left knee. Left toes pointing straight back. Good. Activate the right leg. Include it in the shape. Tiniest bit of effort. Soften your structure, soften your shoulders, soften your sense of self as you melt into the feedback. Salvation is my only function here. Now, we took the memory of heaven with us into the illusion. We might say God sent the, the memory of heaven, the memory of our reality into the illusion with us. But the ego belief is really so strong that it masks out the memory of heaven that we call the Holy Spirit. It's there. It's waiting to be known. It's waiting to be recognized. And when we get quiet, we can hear this guidance. You could call it deep, deep intuition. In paragraph 5, it says, the Holy Spirit, the memory of heaven, holds this plan of God exactly as it was received of him within the mind of God and in your own. It is apart from time in that its source is timeless. So while we seem to live in a world of time and space, the source of the Holy Spirit, the source, this remarkably helpful source, is timeless, being from outside of time and space. Okay, I'll read the line again. It is apart from time in that its source is timeless, yet it operates in time because of your belief that time is real. Unshaken does the Holy Spirit look on what you see, on sin and pain and death, on grief and separation, and on loss. Yet does he know one thing must still be true. God is still love. And this, the separation, is not his will. This is the thought that brings illusions to the truth. And that's our yoga. We want to bring the illusion to the truth. Bring the grievance. Bring the sense of loss. Bring the pain. It's a gift to God. It's all He wants us to do is recognize our limits that we've placed on ourselves and hold them up where He, the Holy Spirit, dissolves them. We ask the Holy Spirit help for this. We cannot do this alone. The ego knows nothing about forgiveness and salvation. In fact, it's terrified of it. Lean to the right, gently release your left leg. And then spin around, put your legs up on the wall, have your head on the bolster. Just have your hands at your sides a moment, rest. See, the practice we do here with these shapes and with our bodies has to be simple. The moment we get attached to a certain outcome in the body, or we try to advance the shape or improve the body, that just sucks us right in. It's part of the trap. You could think of these shapes as a gentle alternative to just simply sitting. And it's helpful because it gives the ego mind a little something to do. I think of it as like throwing the ego a bone, like you throw the dog a bone and it just occupies. It gives a little something to do while we can go deeper. Salvation is my only function here. My function is not to run a yoga studio. My function is not to run a business. My function is not to even care for my family. Sounds crazy. When I recognize salvation as my only function here, then I have all my priorities straight. And all that needs to be cared for, all that needs to happen is naturally given. Remember, the miracle rearranges time and space for our healing. Now bring your hands to the bolster and push it away toward the center of the room. Your hands under if doable, on top if necessary. And have a reach, have a spread of the fingers and the palms. Extend the elbows. But let your whole middle part of your back settle and relax toward the floor. Let it ease toward the floor. Typically, when we reach overhead, we arch the spine. It's just a compromise, a pattern of compromise. So now we can be watchful of that. We can just let the back relax and release. And if possible, then you can bring your hands a bit closer together. Maybe the right stacks on top of the left. And you reach away. And you listen. You don't push into the pain, nor do you avoid it. Salvation is my only function here. It's not to fix this shoulder. It's not to fix this ache in my body. That's just part of the trap. This is the thought whose function is to save by giving you its function as your own. Salvation is your function with the one to whom the plan was given. Now you are entrusted with this plan along with him. He has one answer to appearances, regardless of their form, their size, their depth, or any attribute they seem to have. Salvation is my function here. God still is love. And this, the seeming problem, is not his will. See, I'm trading my plan, my separate individual plan, which is what Lisa and I were talking about earlier here, in letting Yoga Loft, this beautiful space, beautiful, beautiful yoga studio, had to let it go. Trusting that there's a plan behind it all. And we go through some ups and downs, we go through some changes. Yeah, but I trust in the process. I want God's plan, not mine. Switch the stack of your hands if you have the stack. It's okay if they're not touching. It's okay if they're not stacked. You just feel into the resistance. Reach away some. Feel the low back melting toward the floor. Feel how your arms reach way down into the mid and low back. You know, where does one body part begin and end? Everything happens all at once. We like to think of cause and effect of being out in the world, but really all cause comes from the mind. Like a movie projected onto the screen, it happens all at once. Bring your hands back out, a little wider than your shoulders, and reach again. Spread the fingers, extend the elbows, reach away. And then relax the effort. Rest in God, rest in love, rest in perfect peace. You who will yet work miracles, be sure you practice well the idea for today. Try to perceive the strength in what you say, for these are words in which your freedom lies. Your Father loves you. All the world of pain is not his will. Forgive yourself the thought he wanted this for you. Then let the thought with which he has replaced all your mistakes enter the darkened places of your mind that thought the thoughts that never were his will. We made it all up. It's only the power of belief that seems to just keep holding it real. It's so painful. You let his thought replace yours. perfect peace, pure love. And salvation is the gateway to that. Salvation and forgiveness are one and the same. Gently bring your arms to your sides. Bend your knees, push back a little bit, roll to one side. Doesn't have to happen that fast. And when you're ready, come on up, sit comfortably. Yeah. If you're inspired, be sure to read the whole lesson. But the idea alone, salvation is my only function here. Just carry that with you through the day. Practice often. Salvation and forgiveness and happiness are one and the same. Bring your hands to your heart. Namaste.
Namaste.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Jeff.